Hi, my lovies. This is Christina with Karma's Eye Psychic LLC here on Universal Spirit Podcast, and we are still in the middle of our Magic series. And this is episode 11, talking about the Magic of Mania. So, the Magic of Mania is very connected to shadow work. And of course, if you guys are on TikTok and on mainstream, spiritual social media, you're hearing about the Lucky Girl Journal, the Shadow Work Journal, the 369 Journal, the Inner Work, and all that. But shadow work has been around forever. It's one of the main things to use in magical practices, spiritual practices, and also for better mental health. Shadow work, just in general, it's just the dark part of you that you would have to embrace. Also, you would have to heal and then embrace, right? That way you become more aligned with yourself and aligned with your purpose. It is the negative energy that we need to purge in order to move on or allow something we need or want into our lives. We all go through episodes or even seasons of mania. Now, what exactly is mania? It's more like, not necessarily depression, but it's kind of like a time where we are very angry, very hyper vigilant, almost to the point where we feel like we are possibly always paranoid, right? But this is like a sign of us paying more attention to our surroundings and realizing that our surroundings might not be as good or as solid as we thought they were. So we go through these periods of mania where it's kind of like, oh, I should have known that. Oh, I should never let that person get over on me. I should have been smarter. It's really like a time where you're judging yourself very harshly. At the same time, looking for a solution, and you almost become restless to find the solution. In time of extreme or even passive manic episodes, we may feel we have not behaved like ourselves. This is often tied to some folklore that if you are highly spiritually sensitive, you are a vessel for many energies, spirits, or entities to pass through you. These entities usually act out their goals through us and can be strongly connected to mediumship. So every human being has spiritual abilities. We are all mediums for spirits and energies, especially when we, watch movies and we get scared. The fear has gone through us, right? The fear has manifested through us. When we listen to music, we can either feel sad, happy, or empowered. Those are energies that are moving through us, and we are the mediums for that energy. So keep that in mind the next time you are ingesting anything into your life, right? One reason they choose us is because we feel the same as the entity in some way. Like they say, like attracts like. So if you're angry, you're going to be more prone to attracting, negative situations. If you're happy, you're more prone to attracting more positive situations, and so on and so on, right? What makes mania different is that it touches on the unhealed parts of us we are refusing, don't know how, or we are unaware of needing change. But where is the magic in this? The magic is being spiritually fluid enough and aware that this will in fact pass through us and it is not intended to stay. So understanding that it is in fact a period of time or a spell, so to speak, that it is not permanent, it is in fact temporary, as if this has to happen in order for a breakthrough, to occur. So a breakdown to create a breakthrough. Okay? When you become aware, you no longer fear the manic episode. You allow it to take its natural course. Now, this is not a substitute for any professional or medical advice. Just to keep that in mind, disclaimer. Oftentimes, practitioners will allow this time to do some spiritual sweeping on themselves, on others, or join the consciousness of others on a bigger scale. That was wordy. Let me explain. When we are feeling these negative emotions, right, most practitioners, spiritual people, or people who are spiritually aware, we tend to allow it to happen. We often can even capitalize on it spiritually, so to speak, right? Where it's kind of like, now I'm feeling this rage, I'm feeling this energy. Now, what should I do with this energy? Now you're directing it. Now that you know that you have it, now you're directing it. So it's kind of like, maybe I should tell that person how I really feel. Maybe I should really, look deep into this, or maybe I really should give myself the criticism that I need to give myself right now, instead of pretending like this thing or this is not happening, so to speak. So it's kind of like breaking out of denial, breaking out of the fact that we're all, we're not perfect. So it's kind of like, yes, it is okay to kick yourself sometimes, or it is okay to criticize yourself sometimes, and sometimes you need to be the one that criticizes yourself the hardest. And in these episodes of Mania are one of those opportunities to do so. All right. For example, when aware of a manic episode, a practitioner will use this energy to fight, or protest with others for a cause that they support. If they normally sit in the shadows, instead they will be in the crowd, joining with the bigger consciousness. Deep down, this cause is what they really care about and would like to change, instead of fighting with someone else. So yes, we can become repressed, especially if you are living in American society, where it's kind of like, anger is looked so down upon, but anger is natural. Or depression is looked down upon, but people have bouts of depression. We get disappointed in ourselves. We feel the failure sometimes longer than we should, but we become aware of the failure just as much as everyone who's looking at us have, right? So instead of taking out our anger on, our children or our friends or even our family, it becomes more directed at the thing that we really care about, such as, like I said, protest. It's like, I'm not really upset at my boss. I'm upset at the system that my boss is operating in. So if I fight that, I don't necessarily have to fight my boss. And yes, oftentimes mania can get us to be scrambled, but if you are very unaware of these bouts of mania, you will continue to be scrambled, instead of what you're doing now by listening to this podcast, to really dissect it and use it to your advantage rather than it destroying you, right? Another example, mania may take place in the presence of people who have done you wrong, with or without your knowledge, and the negative energy is telling on them, especially when you felt fine moments before seeing them. Now, this is a big one. There are people, situations, and environments that trigger us, and when we start to get triggered, we have these bouts of mania. We need to know why we're having this. We need to know why we're in this situation, why we are either forced to be in this situation, or why we keep putting ourselves in this situation, and to make the higher conscious choice to not be in the situation again, or to be in the situation with different eyes and understand, and to keep those feelings of anger and panic away, or at least be able to manage them a lot better, to the point we're not panicking anymore. Now we're on a level of understanding, because mania is really the absence of understanding, right? And once we have the understanding, we don't need to be manic anymore. You'll start to see your manic episodes decreasing to the point where you almost never have a manic episode ever again, unless you choose to, right? Because we all have the choice. Again, this is strongly connected to shadow work. Mania can also be the presence of the stronger self, the courageous self, the fearless self, or the menacing self. Mania is a way to fight back spiritually. Okay? We all have an inner compass to fight back. We are not all cowards. We are not all sheep, and we all do not have the desire to comply. There is a fight in all of us, and some of us are more aware of it than others. Some of us express it more than others, and most of all, some of us embrace it more than others, where you will see it and it will be, in fact, applied to our lives. People who apply this to their lives are more successful, they're a lot happier, and they do tend to manifest so much quicker and understand a lot more on a very higher conscious level. Understanding that is shadow, that is part of us. That's the part of us that says, I do not want to finish this meeting, I'm out of here. Okay, the part of us that quits the job and says, hey, I'm not happy anymore. Does that seem like manic? It would to an outsider who is very, spiritually unaware, right? For those of people who have never picked up a psychology textbook ever and just really relies on what society tells you about people who do that. But that's not on a deeper understanding level from the outsider to come to that conclusion. But the person who is experiencing it is like, no, this is bullshit. I don't want nothing to do with this anymore. I need to get out of here, and I know I'm going to be fine once I leave the situation, and I trust myself enough to make better of the situation. Sometimes society and the false sense that we are just our bodies can trigger thoughts of mania to remind us that a stronger and scarier version of ourselves is much bigger than our bodies. For those of you who follow me, I say that a lot, that we are just energies and spirits having a human experience where no matter what physical body we're put in, it doesn't matter what race, it doesn't matter what, gender, it doesn't matter, our size or our ability or disability. We are all having a human experience, period. So what's driving us is the force. It's not the physical body itself, and that's where a lot of mainstream society gets stuck on. They stop at the physical body, like, oh, if you're not skinny, then no one's going to treat you right. Oh, if you're not pretty, then you're not going to have a good life. And that's all depending on other people to give you that. But if you are against the norm, right, you're not skinny or you're not super beautiful or whatever, you can still decide, because you are the driving force, to be happy. You can say, well, I might not be according to your standards, but my standards also matter because I'm here, I'm physical matter, and I am also taking up space in this universe. So you might be not liking what's going on with me, but I might not like what's going on with you for me to not care about what you think. So what are your thoughts on that, lovies? Did you find any, diamonds in this episode about mania? Does it apply to you? Do you have any thoughts about it? Will you think about those episodes of mania a little bit differently now? Because yes, we all have triggers, right? But of course, I'm not Dr. Phil over here, right? But just wanted to give you that little bit of a gem to understand that you're not going crazy. It's your spirit trying to speak to you. It's like your spirit jumps out the body and looks at you and says, hey, what the hell are we doing? Okay, like this is not who you really are. You want to do X, Y, and Z. All right, so let me know what you think. So again, this is Christina with Karma's Eyes LLC here on Universal Spirit Podcast, and see you in the next episode. Happy holidays, my lovies, and Happy New Year if I don't get a chance to see you or hear from you.